what I'm talking about.
Hey, what is up guys, this is your boy Tway here, and this will be a video about two things. One would be gear progression, and two would be on how to enchant properly. Now, let's start with gear progression. Now, one of the biggest questions that I got into this game, like, how do you get end game gear, and how do you actually play this game properly? Now, there are multiple ways, which actually makes it a lot of fun how to gear up properly as well. Let's just start with the main way that you can do it. Once you reach level 50 and do a lot of part of the story quest, you allow yourself to go to, let's say, this shrine, and you can start off with doing like the same dungeons that you've done before, but this time on, like, instead you had normal and hard mode, now you have, let's say, a hell mode. Now once you start this, this requires you to be at a certain level of gear score. If you want to see where your gear score is, press P, and there you go. I got 300, which allowed me to do a few things. Now if you want to start out, you have to get 255 to start out the very first dungeon. Now if you complete the first storyline part, you will definitely get up to 255, which is quite easy to get. Now if you look closely, let's say you go for a bow that you can possibly get from the dungeon itself. Now this has 441 possible maximum damage. Now this actually adds up to a certain point. I'm not sure how these numbers work, but they add up. So the stronger items that you get, the higher gear progression that you get. Let's remember 441. If I go up to the higher one, 452, so actually 9 up. If I go even further up, then again 465. So exponentially progressing throughout the game, you will be able to get even more gear than you are, like, whether or not you're sure of. Now this seems to actually exponentially rise even further. I would say these differences are definitely good. I'm not sure, like I said, how these numbers work, but you are pretty much able to get like a lot of items, and you are able to gear yourself up properly for raids and such. There's another way. If you go to this part of your game, press Alt G, I usually click it, it shows you where to actually go with your current gear, or what you can potentially do. Now this has certain limitations to it as well. Now if you look closely, I'm on 300, and this opens up like various places, and if you check it and you click it, you can actually see that this is onto a way different continent that I'm currently at, currently here. If you go up there, then this dungeon is actually something that you can run for the item that you want to get. Now if I check it out, my current rings are 170. I got about 2 of them. 170, 174. Now if I get myself a new ring up here, it actually really rises a lot. So let's say I got 300 and I want to see if I can do the next dungeons or what. Then let's see, 290 is something I can do right now, but 305 is the thing I would be able to do next. So a smart thing that you can possibly do is go up here, because my accessories are pure shit. Go to the right dungeon that I've just shown, like this one, run it once or twice with maybe a team, which is pretty easy to get, and that way you can progress within the game. That is number 1. Now for number 2, I'll actually have to port, or let's say, let's check out the bosses first. I've got to run just a little bit, and there is something that is raid bosses. Now raid bosses are things that you can do, and you'll be able to get items from them, or you could do world bosses. Now funny thing is, I've tried one of those raid bosses myself solo. I whacked this thing down for 10 minutes straight, and I could not damage it as much as I would hope it to. Now 270 is the lowest raid boss that you can possibly get. Is the bow better than what I'm currently using? No. So it is, I would say it's very debatable whether it is good or not, or whether it's something you should try. but honestly, that's something I'll have to get to whenever the OBT hits and I actually get friends to play with, because right now I solo just about everything because I had really not enough time. Now let's just check out where you can make the boss items. Just check it here. So we got some 270 up in here, which is the normal thing that you can craft, and if you go up higher you can actually get the full sets and make yourself a different kind of gearbox. I'm not quite sure how that works, I haven't tried it out. Now here we get into like boss items. Now I am not quite sure which is which and where to get it, but I am just assuming that world bosses of every single sort will allow you to make different kinds of items. Now 690 and 647 on maximum is an insane amount, and you can actually check that. Let's say this is different than the actual what it says boss gear, and I am basically assuming that this is also part of the gear that you can progress at. Now this could be world boss, but I could definitely be wrong, and guess what? We get disconnected. Now the moment I actually disconnected, let's get back to like the boss gear that you can potentially get. Now let's say 340 or 320 and you can actually get this up. With this you'll need like a lot of life skilling, but it's quite easy to actually get these items into the very early stages of the game. Now there are multiple items that you can potentially get, but it seems as though the boss items look fairly the same, except for this one. This one looks different for no reason. There we go, that looks the same. And in terms of other items, this actually looks different as well, and I think this looks way more monstrous than anything else. Now that is it onto that part of the gear progression. Let's get up to something that maybe allows you to skip several parts of the, let's call it just grinding a lot of the same dungeons everywhere and once and again. There are multiple ways on getting other stuffs as well. One of them is Tower of Infinity, which I actually know of. So if I go up to the tower, I can show you that all of my gear that I currently have right there is from the tower. And this allowed me to easily get to 300 if you are able to get through floor 20. Floor 20 is one of the first times that you actually get boss gear, and if I complete level 35, which I possibly won't do in this beta, then I will be able to get a bow and more damage and such. So that is also a way where you can get multiple or more things. Cube potentially has some things that may or may not work, but it is quite different from CBT2, and you don't get any boss gear from there. Now let's head off onto the part which is Enchanting. Now honestly, I don't have as much of the items that I wanted to show you guys into this video, but I'll show you the main ways of actually enhancing your gear. Like I said, I'm not Korean, so I'm not entirely certain of everything that I'm doing, but in most cases I get the general idea. Now for one reason which you can actually go up to, like on the very early stages, you can get yourself an item, and I'll just mess up my gear for no reason. Let's pick one of these parts of the gear. Now this NPC allows you to change up the second line of your gear. If you look at it, this second line says crit 56 and something else 24. Now I only know what crit is, and anything else I have absolutely no idea because I've been too lazy to Google Translate. Now you can change this up onto anything else. Now what you can do is try and max out your crit. It's 24, so it's lower than what it used to be, and this takes up like a lot of time and some money to get this popping. Now I won't try anything further, but I hope you get the main idea. That is number one. Number two would be, let's say, this part of the progression, and hopefully I have one of these slots left. Apparently I do not. Now this is a slot where you can put several items into. Now I am not quite sure where, but you can get these items from a world boss, and they differ from like stronger or whatnot. Like I said, I am not quite sure what they actually do because, like I said, too lazy on the translate. There we go. This is one of the other that allows you to do something even better. This stuff allows you to put certain skills in, but it requires a different kind of system. What happens basically, if you, let's see, hopefully I got a star item right there. Ah, I got my bow. If you look at the top, it actually shows that I have 2 stars on the bow. Now if I check this, it has 0 stars. Also, if you check a little bit below, it says something 3 and something 5. That means that if I get this thing to 3 star, I will actually be getting a skill buff. Now, it kind of depends on which skill buff you get, but if you get it up to 3, you can actually change these skills, which is great. Because you can potentially get, let's just hope it's extra damage or utility or whatsoever, but this could potentially change your skills up for the better. Now, how to get these stars? That is probably one of the bigger questions, and not even a hard one. Once you get yourself some items, and yeah, let's just break them down because I should not, but let's just say that, oh, I don't even want this thing. Where's the other one? There is supposed to be another one where I can actually upgrade my gear. Ah, it's that one below. Now, you will need enhancement stones to get these stars up. Now, currently I have 49 of the level 1 enhancement stones. Now, I am going to do something very stupid, and that is break down some of my items to the very worst, and hopefully I will be able to get a 2 part. Check it out, and there we go, we got ourselves a 2 stone. Now let's just check if I break down half of my gear and get myself even more stars. Thankfully this is a beta and I don't give a fuck. There we go, I got 8 of these things. That was the main purpose of this, so I can potentially actually level up my one of these items. Unfortunately, my gear scar instantly dropped to 221. Alright, if you go to this NPC and pop yourself one of these items. Now if you check, then this actually cost me 2 of the 2 stones and 4 of the 1 stones. If I check it onto my bow, I actually need something else, which is part of the world boss. Now I've seen something, which is that I went up from level 3 to straight up level 5, so you can actually proc these stars, which allows you to basically skip one of these parts, which is great. So let's say I want to upgrade this thing, for instance. Currently it has 285, and you can actually see this thing go up. Pop it down, get it back, and actually get yourself more defense and whatnot, and there you go, we got it actually to 1 star. If I want to pop it once again, it costs me just a little bit more. Let's get it to 2 star. Now hopefully I'll crit one, because that would be amazing. Let's get it back. Nope, just got it to 2. Now let's see if I can get lucky with this. I got 2 stones left. If I actually crit this one, it would be great for video purposes, but probably not. And get it back. And guess what? I actually got this thing straight to level 2. See? That is what I was talking about. So if you want to progress your gear, this is also one of the parts. So I hope this kind of makes sense to everybody. And if you have any questions, make sure to pop it down into the comments. As for now, this is CBT. Fuck it. Peace out.